And in Ghana, the economy shrank 3.2% year-on-year in the second quarter of 2020, following a 4.9% growth in the previous period. It was the first economic contraction since the second quarter of 2016 due to COVID-19 and related containment measures. The country has started to gradually ease lockdown restrictions in May, but many businesses across sectors remain shut. Matt Keniger, Associate Practice Lead Sub-Saharan Africa at Docker Frontier, has been tracking developments there and joins us now. Hello, Matt. Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the show.
So Ghana's economic contraction in second quarter was relatively mild. Why was this, and were there any sectors that stood out for you?
Yeah, so Ghana's contraction in Q2 was actually quite soft, as you said, compared to other markets such as South Africa, Nigeria, or Kenya. And this is likely the result of COVID-19 restrictions being relatively light compared to other markets or other leading markets in Sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana was also fairly quick to begin lifting COVID-19 restrictions, although they definitely are not all lifted now. We were surprised to see them lifted quite early in Ghana. So this has probably supported commercial activity. And what we have seen actually is a fairly healthy bounce back in business sentiment in Ghana, despite the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. According to the Purchasing Managers Index, which is a survey of business sentiment, the business sentiment has reached pre-pandemic levels already. So it's quite upbeat. And in terms of the outlook for or the performance of certain sectors, so agriculture continued to grow despite the contraction, but we did see pretty significant contractions in hospitality, unsurprising given the restrictions, but also manufacturing and mining performed particularly badly in Q2. So those were some sectors that stood out.
Now, to what extent will the economy's performance this year affect the outcome of the election next month?
Yeah, so we've been watching this quite carefully because it's quite a major election. Our base case before the coronavirus pandemic was that Mr. Akufo-Addo and his NPP was going to be re-elected based on fairly healthy economic performance last year, and we were expecting strong growth this year. But now the coronavirus pandemic and the weaker growth outlook does upend the election a little bit. So there is more uncertainty around who will be re-elected. One of the reasons is because the government has really been unable to push ahead large infrastructure investments and also hasn't been able to increase civil service wages as much as it wanted. So definitely the election is a lot less certain and it will be a lot more competitive.
Now, looking ahead to 2021, how do you expect the economy to perform and what are the risks to the outlook?
Yeah, so Ghana will have a bit of a mixed picture next year. So we are expecting the economy to grow relatively healthily next year, so around about 3 to 4%, although this is not as rapid as other markets like Kenya and Cote d'Ivoire. And part of the reason is because although the private sector is likely to see stronger demand next year, better conditions, consumers will benefit from lower inflation. The problem is that public finances are increasingly precarious. So the government was planning or was expecting a very healthy windfall from oil this year, but because of the collapse in global oil prices, this has really exerted a lot of pressure on public finances. So investment projects will be delayed next year. Public spending is likely to be quite weak, and this turns me to the next or the major risk for the outlook, and that really is public debt. So if Ghana's fiscal position worsens, if the deficit continues to increase, we are at risk of debt distress in Ghana. Although we don't expect it to be a default, there is increasing likelihood of quite substantial pressure on the government budget, which could affect the economic outlook and the value of the infant.
All right, thank you very much, Matt, for your time on the show.
Thank you.